Well, I'm back. So, I thought I'd bring you to the room where I write my stories and my songs. Okay, let me preface that. I constantly jotting things down wherever I'm at. And I have my mom send me her stories, and then and here's where I tweak them, where I clean them up, or I add things, or take things away, or make them less long, or make them longer. But this is the room that I do that in. And so I thought I would come in here and tell you. And I was also going to tell you that sometimes it's not necessarily a story or a someone tells or a thing that happens that inspires me. Sometimes it can be something like biscuit cutter or an old rolling pin. These were both my grandmother's. Sometimes it can be a garter that's been passed down from mother to daughter to granddaughter. Though my daughter doesn't have it right now, but she'll eventually get it. Or it could be a lock of hair. My youngest daughter does not like to get her hair cut, and she does it very, very seldom. And this is probably the most she ever had cut off in all the years that she's had her hair cut. And yes, I'm weird. I just kept it. Also, I have like old doilies from my granny. So these things will inspire me to write too. I might write a whole story about doilies or a whole story about cutting biscuits. Um, that's just how it works with me. Um, then also it's different. Like my song about retreat, that was more about the actual thing that happened. Retreat, things that go on at retreat, how they go, that sort of stuff. Um, the one I'm working on, the Healing Quilt. That is actually my mother. When my father passed, she made a quilt, and she wrote up about it, talking about the Healing Quilt and how she took a piece at a time. And anyways, I'm not going to give it all away because it's in the song. And but I got the story from her, and I need to take a picture of the quilt. But I wrote that story. I put it into a song. So not everything that was in that write up is in the song, but the heart of it's there. And then I'm doing the same thing. She wrote about my daddy and her meeting, and I put that in a song. Um, I wrote one called "A Letter to God." Um, so I have lots of little ones that are coming on. So don't worry, I have plenty coming. Now, as far as videos, that takes a little longer because it's not just you can't just throw it together. Um, a lot of props. I don't know if you noticed, but like in the one I did of my girl. So the little toes, when it was talking about 'em, there was no baby attached to the toes. It just showed the little toes, and so things like that I have to tweak and work on. And so the videos I have out now, I will probably end up redoing when I learn how to do it. As I learn how to do it better, I will probably redo them. It will be later. I'll have other ones first, and then I'll go back and redo those. Um, so, if you notice today, I'm not washing dishes today. I started off doing this video. I was folding clothes and talking, and my dogs started barking. They did not like it at all. So I decided I would wait, and then I would just come show you where I sit down and I write and do all my editing and all that fun stuff. And if you, whoops, wrong side, I forget. I have to learn this in the camera this way. So if you look back here, that's my husband's. Okay, there we go. That's my husband's bike. And then, well, probably, anyways, over there is my treadmill. And when I can't get outside and walk around and do, then that's what I like to do is my treadmill. I don't do it near as often as I should. And you ask my husband, he'll tell you I don't do it near as often as I should. It's good for me. I need it. So, and then on that side of, okay, I'm going to get it right here in a minute. On that side of me is the toolbox. Um, I have tons of tools, and I finally got a toolbox to put them all in, and of course, now my husband's putting his in there as well. Um, Mine stay really clean. I'm just weird that way. But anyways, I have some of my daddy's tools that I got when he passed, so some of them are in there too. And then this is my trusty little printer because I will write and print out, and then I will go sit in the living room with my husband, and I will sit there and go through with red pens and mark, mark, mark. That doesn't work, and circle and write this, try that, write it this way, write it that way, and so that's kind of how it goes. Um, and let's see, what else can I tell you about? Um, I guess for this evening, that's going to be about it. It's not going to be a long one. I do apologize. As I learn how to do this better and get better at talking and better at sitting down and figuring out what I want to go over and that kind of thing, I'll get better at this. If you have any questions about how I came up with some of them, feel free to ask. I'm glad y'all are watching. I'm up to 4 subscribers. That's okay. I'm fine with that. I'd rather people just watch if that's what gives them joy. If you want to subscribe, I think that's wonderful. If you want to hit like, of course, I think that's wonderful as well. But just the fact that you watch and you enjoy and maybe get a kick out of it and maybe inspire somebody else to do something. You will see some that have a lot of quilting themes in it, and you can guess I like to quilt. Um, I'm actually got one rattling around in his brain up here about my chickens, so we'll see how that one goes. Um, and of course, there's a few up there about my dogs. Maybe I'll get there too sometime, but right now they're not prevalent. They're just kind of in the back rattling around. They'll get a couple of notes here and there, and eventually they'll work their way up to where they're in the front and important. Um, so, but I think that's going to be it for tonight. So I'm going to tell y'all to have a good evening. God bless, and y'all stay safe out there.
September came and changed my world. The day my best friend slipped away. 58 years side by side, then silence filled each passing day. The house grew larger, my heart grew small. I couldn't see beyond the pain. I asked the morning why I'd wake, and wondered if I'd smile again. God is stitching my healing quilt, scrap at a time. Pieces torn by grief and tears, bound together by love divine. Every color, every scar, every dark and every light, in the hands of the master quilter. He's making something beautiful of my life. I reached into a basket of scraps, not caring how the colors met. Polka dots beside the stripes, every piece a memory kept. Then I saw my life within those scattered pieces on the was sowing grace between the broken places of my soul. God is stitching my healing quilt, one little scrap at a time. Pieces torn by grief and tears, bound together by love divine. Every color, every scar, every dark and every light, in the hands of the master quilter, he's making something beautiful of my life. Some scraps are joy, some scraps are pain, some are bright and some are gray. None are wasted in his hands. He knows exactly where they'll lay. Though I still miss the one I love, I know my story isn't through. He's still sewing every thread, making all things fresh and new. God is stitching my healing quilt, one little scrap at a time, adding hope to every seam, covering every tear I've cried. I'll keep trusting day by day, though I cannot see the end. When the master quilter calls me home, we'll be together once again. There are still a few more scraps to add before my journey's through, and every stitch reminds my heart God is making all things new. One stitch